to episode 117 of the KBMOD Podcast. I don't know how we got here, but we did. I'm Dan, and the date, so Brandon doesn't murder me in my sleep in front of his mirror, dismembering my body parts one by one in an excruciating manner, is November 10th, 2013. So there you go.
Aren't at a computer looking at your goddamn calendar. I'm so over. Can we stop doing that?
People who listen to this 6 months from now will appreciate it.
But why do they care? Because it's already dated, and if they downloaded it, it'll say what date it was, right?
I don't know. I don't know what kind of computer they have. I don't know their life.
Okay. All right. Sorry, I'm sick today, so I'm not in a good mood.
I think we can all agree their computer has time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
Maybe.
Or whatever device.
Well, they might be using a mag monitor, and the resolution is too low, so they can't read what number the date is.
All right.
Maybe they hide their taskbar, and they can't see that. They can't
That's
see
true.
the date.
They can't move their mouse by the bottom of the screen to make.
Or they're like the people I work for. They're like the people I work for, and they have so many toolbars on their screen that they can't even type, so they can't see the time. But we do. It is a special episode because we do have a guest with us. Linus from Linus Tech Tips is with us. We've been trying to get him on since last November, but he has badminton every week or some shit, so I don't know what's going on. But he's here.
Well, the problem is you were trying to get me on. If you'd been trying to get it on with me, then we'd have had a different
That's
conversation.
true.
Don't try to get it on, get it in. Try to get it in.
Or first that one, then the other one. That's fine.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Linus, for those who don't know, what do you do? Who are you?
Okay, so I have no idea. I'm a professional YouTuber, if I were to call myself anything. An entrepreneur, I suppose, an internet entrepreneur, an influencer, I think is what Intel likes to call me. So I'm one of those. I have a YouTube channel with about 500,000 subscribers, so if there's any of you that don't know who I am, then that's basically who I am. If you search for Linus, you'll come up with probably Linus Van Pelt from Peanuts, Linus Torvalds from Linux fame, and then me after those two. Like as
there
a
you go.
Third. So that's me.
It's not a bad place to be in terms of
No.
the world's Linuses.
company.
Yeah, it's fortunate there just aren't that many of them. I mean, Linus Pauling, the guy who did all of the vitamin C research and won 2 Nobel Prizes, is sort of like a distant fourth after me. In terms of, other than the Wikipedia article, he just kind of gets swept away because he was a scientist, and it's just not that sexy.
Yeah, Nobel Prize ain't shit.
Yeah, I make videos about graphics cards, so
Get mad.
Yeah.
Nobel nerd.
Get mad, Nobel nerd. Yeah.
Nice Nerd Bell Prize. And hang that up over your anime figurines.
in terms of the world's Linus, is that the plural of Linus? I think it is.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it is.
So, we don't talk. Well, we do talk hardware on this podcast, but half this podcast is very hateful when it happens.
I wouldn't use the term hateful. I would use the term blissfully ignorant.
I shut down. Like when my significant other wants it from me, and I don't want. I just shut down, and I'm like, I turn my back, and I'm like,
That's something that happens that often.
Very often. I'm a very moody sexual person. A lot of times I'm just not going to give it out. So
Scott is a.
I can be frigid.
He's desensitized to it.
I've been called frigid. I'm not just going to put out.
Yeah.
So
after you put it in so many times, you just like.
Totally.
It's just what happens. It's like brushing your teeth.
So we do PC build guides every month. I don't know if you've seen our build guides. Wow, dude. But no.
the immediate answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should look at them sometime and audit our performance. But so what have you? Well, the big hardware news obviously recently is AMD finally dropping something quite good. But the price drops, and we always talk about which is the best video card, what's the best bang for your buck, because people ask us a lot as well, because we put build guides out. What do you think is the best value out there right now?
The best value right now really depends. If I was looking to spend about $100, I'd go buy a 7770. It's a fantastic value. 650 Ti Boost is also a great card in that price range. The thing about what NVIDIA is doing right now, and you know what, this is the way it's all changing. I'm sorry, how long do you guys want me to talk for? Because I can probably...
You can go ham, dude.
Yeah.
I'm fine
I
with
do it like all the time about nothing.
Yeah, blacklight. We're used to blacklight, yeah.
So if you have something, yeah.
Okay, so here's the problem, is that even a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, it was all about who delivers the most FPS in fraps, and it was that simple. It was dollars per frame per second, and then beyond that, it was like, well, you know, ATI's drivers are crap in this game, or NVIDIA's drivers are crap in that game, or whatever else. So it was what game you play, and then how many frames per second that you get drawn on the screen for every dollar you spent. But nowadays, it's really not that simple. And both AMD and NVIDIA, whether they want to talk about it or not, NVIDIA wants to talk about it, AMD doesn't, but they want to get away from the FPS race because it's going to destroy them in the long term. It can't be, with how much it costs to develop and manufacture a GPU, and then how long you're stuck with it, and you have to market that thing, and you need people to buy it, or you won't be able to develop something new. You can't afford to be like the old days where when you lost for a generation, you just didn't get any money. And that's terrible. It's a terrible way to do business. So they're trying to build additional value into their graphics card technologies. So NVIDIA is doing this through Shadowplay, which I'd imagine you guys are very, very excited about.
I've heard good things.
Yes, actually I am.
Yes, so being able to record using the H.264 encoder built onto your graphics card, being able to record your gameplay as you go all the time with a negligible performance hit, and being able to stream live to Twitch from your own PC without a separate capture device, again, with very little performance hit. That's extremely exciting. So NVIDIA's got that. They've got CUDA. They've got PhysX. I'm not going to say that those ones are quite as exciting as Shadowplay, but then they've also got GameStream, which is a huge deal. I don't know if any of you guys have an NVIDIA Shield, but if you have an NVIDIA graphics card and you want to enjoy PC quality graphics just kind of on the can or in bed or somewhere in between, then I know that's where I live most of my life, but it's amazing. Shield is fantastic. And I just tried console mode last night, so that's where you take your Shield, you pop an HDMI cable in it, you drop it in front of your TV, and then you wirelessly play. Right now it only supports 720p, but 1080 is coming. So it's just my graphics card upstairs is powering this game experience that I'm having downstairs on my couch with a Bluetooth controller. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And then AMD's whole thing is true audio, some more immersive audio, and their Mantle API, which is both extremely exciting and extremely problematic because it's going to fragment the market even further than it already is with OpenGL, DirectX, mobile, etc., etc., etc. So what's the answer? I don't know. You have to decide what's important to you.
So if you're recording gameplay, NVIDIA, probably...
Not even necessarily. It doesn't even have any OpenGL support right now. So...
So certain games aren't gonna... Okay.
Well, yeah, like Minecraft is completely shut out of Shadowplay right now.
That's a pretty big segment of the gaming recording out there. So.
Sure is, isn't it? I mean, NVIDIA doesn't want to talk about that, but that's something that people have to be aware of before they buy this stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've noticed that because I'm running Shadowplay now, and I haven't actually tried it much yet, but I've just noticed the icon isn't in some games, and that's definitely, you know, for your average gamer, average consumer, like that's not a good experience because when I use DX3, right, DX3 hooks into whatever full screen application I'm using. So yeah, it's like that's not really a great solution if it only works on a subset of games, and you can't rely on that to like be your solution for recording your gameplay.
Well, maybe
Exactly. So there's a long way to go for all of this stuff, but we actually have a video coming up shortly on my secondary channel, Tech Quickie, that is called How to Buy a Graphics Card. And for about the first minute and a half of it, I think I talk about why specs are completely irrelevant. Because people try to compare graphics cards based on how much RAM they have or what frequency they run at or whatever, and it's just stupid and people shouldn't do that. So on the in the video, I explain how you actually determine what performs as well as it does and how that compares to everything else. So.
Yeah, we see that. We see people do that still with CPUs, and I think like it's been so long since you could compare CPUs clock for clock, and we're pretty much at the same point now with graphics cards. Like the architectures are different. You can't just look at the number and choose the bigger one because it doesn't work that way anymore.
Yeah, and And we've also seen AnandTech, and we've brought this up on the podcast before. Your CPU for gaming, since we are a gaming channel, doesn't really matter too much anymore at all. AnandTech came out with some very, very good benchmarks, very thorough as they usually are, and basically proving that it really doesn't matter what you have unless you start getting up to like triple video cards or quad SLI, that kind of thing.
Even then, it doesn't make much difference. It just really doesn't. I mean, it's the thing too is if you've been paying close attention to what's been going on, particularly on the Intel side, we haven't seen any kind of huge improvement in performance generation over generation in the last 3 or 4 years. So,
what do you think about this garbage Raptor bullshit that comes with AMD drivers now? Or have you not seen this? Yeah,
I saw the demo at their GPU 14 conference, and I kind of went, oh yeah, so that's like the ghetto response to GeForce Experience.
Yes, it is. I'm using it right now on my 6GB 7970, and it doesn't really do anything but say on the side of my screen with no option to get rid of it off the side.
All I needed to know was that it was a third-party app, and in much the same way that NVIDIA came out with 3D Vision, and we can talk however much we want about how stereoscopic 3D was a total flop, both in terms of gaming and in terms of movies, and I don't think anyone's going to argue about that. But AMD's solution for it, NVIDIA's for better or for worse, was good, and it worked. And AMD's solution was to tap into third-party guys, so it was IZ3D and then some other stupid thing, and they just didn't work at all. Like, they were terrible. We tried to do a video several times on AMD's 3D, and all 3 times it was such a disaster. We couldn't get it to work well enough to even demo it and say, look, it's working behind me, and here are all the things we had to do. We couldn't even do it. And I kind of went, okay, well, they're doing that again.
Yep. Yeah, blah. Just peacing out, right, dude? Thanks.
Oh, yeah, sorry. There was something weird with my
I enjoy 3D, actually, depending on the game. Like,
do you have a 3D monitor?
NVIDIA's solution. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I enjoy it. I enjoy it, once in a while. It's not something that is, like, crucial to a core gaming experience, but it's definitely something that has its place, like, as a niche kind of thing that you just F around with for 20 minutes once in a while.
I agree
like, it's certainly not a Oculus. Like, Oculus has its place, and it's going to be fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But, it's cool, and it's fun, and I like to mess with it maybe once every couple months.
Well, the problem with the PC implementations is that they weren't good. The first gen wasn't good. I mean, there was so much crosstalk between the 2 images that it was I got a headache within a couple minutes every time I put the glasses on. Whereas the newer monitors with their backlight modulation, so some of the new stuff that's coming out, like the XL2420 TE from BenQ, which I've actually got a video up right now that says the best gaming LCD I've ever seen, and it really is. It delivers a very good 3D experience. It's just that no one is reviewing 3D Vision anymore because everyone saw it already, decided they didn't care because the implementation wasn't that great, and then it died.
Linus, I want to ask you. I want to ask you because this happened recently. What is your thoughts on NVIDIA G-Sync?
It's amazing. It's game changing, completely game changing. You will not want a monitor that doesn't have G-Sync on it come next year.
Well, there you go.
Well,
that's kind of what I was reading about, and I've been holding off on getting 120 hertz monitors, even though I've seen the difference, and I play shooters and things. I would benefit from it, but then once I saw the G-Sync stuff, I was like, there's no way I can get a 120 hertz monitor now because I feel like G-Sync is what I'm going to have. Because it's just such a better solution to the way it's always been done.
Absolutely.
Is G-Sync like V-Sync for gangsters?
But that was my first thought too.
Yeah, G-Sync.
Basically, blah. In a quick synopsis,
nothing but a G-Sync.
NVIDIA's putting chips in monitors, so V-Sync will no longer be a thing. So you won't ever see screen tearing and things like that again with it on there. So it's supposedly. I mean, Linus has probably seen it, but it's supposedly absolutely amazing. So
I've seen it. I've seen it in person. It is as amazing as everyone else says it is. It's that amazing times 2. It's amazing.
That sounds really useful. I have a lot of problems with screen tearing right now, which really shouldn't be a thing. But if they're putting chips in monitors, then when do keyboards full of dip come out.
Okay. You have a really specific set of desires in your hardware.
I do.
I don't know if you guys have heard of this, but this is the hardware that I want to see made. I need to see a USB butt plug. And oh, you're laughing, but this is the next generation in input devices, because if you guys are anything like me, I can be kind of a twitchy gamer, which is part of the reason I'm not good at it. So someone jumps out from around a corner or whatever, like my mouse goes flying off the mouse pad and I tense up, and so I figure if you could program it to do something useful when you clench, then whenever that happens,
massage your anus.
Yeah,
and
a
then
little safety.
Then you'll be more relaxed and you'll stop jumping. You know, because you have it's almost like when you bite down on something to either like calm yourself down or like get through like a painful moment. It's like that, but with your other hole.
Immediately,
maybe have like some force feedback.
Yeah,
there's all kinds of peripherals that could work in this way. Like for example. When you're getting a little frisky, your favorite website could just launch on its own.
There you go.
It can detect. You could have like a cock ring that's connected to your USB port, and it reads out like it measures like changes in diameter and stuff. And
takes the
I will say there's some good.
I think that one should be wireless though, not USB port. Just because then if you walk away, it's going to be a problem if it's still plugged in.
It's time. Yeah, from the chat, it's time. Let's get a Kickstarter going. We also had a clench to prone, which would be a good use of that.
All I can think of is like that's the next step of panic knifing.
Yeah,
clenching your ass.
So you're saying you could. So you're saying that you could use your ass to drop shot. You're saying you could drop that ass down low.
God damn it.
All right. I'm all in. I wasn't with you at first, but you won me over, Linus. I am way behind this now.
Yeah, we need to make this thing.
Kickstarting it. I'm kickstarting
If we kickstart it, they will come.
I'm a little concerned by the fact that something that has electricity flowing through it is going up inside of me.
Some people consider that a bonus.
Nick Fenton acting like he's never used a battery-powered dildo before. That's really
Never heard of the Sibian bitch?
No, I actually haven't.
This is where we're going. John's PC got all fucked up, so he is restarting. Wow, no way. No way. Someone found it. We're behind the times. Prostate pleasure. I'm not saying I'm clicking on prostatepleasureguide.net.
And the problem is that
it doesn't have inputs.
Yeah, it
has
doesn't have inputs. No, we're talking something that you plug into your computer and access an HID. Yeah. If it doesn't do that, then it's not that's not the right thing. I'm sorry, you guys.
It's clear there's a lot of room for improvement in this market.
I mean, we're talking about 3 billion males in the world, and whatever subset of them are gamers, and that's all growing all the time. This could be an enormous market, even if you can only sell the thing for $29.99. We're talking about a lot of millions of dollars here. USB butt plugs.
And then you sell a pink version for prostate cancer awareness.
Yes.
Oh. Yeah, totally. Even though pink is already for breast cancer awareness, but we're gonna steal it.
I want a liquid cooling system where the tubes come out and wrap around my head and also go into my mouth, and it's liquid cool with beer or soda.
That would be good.
And it goes in between, and then it's cooling my CPU, but it's also like if I'm thirsty, it's right there.
I have a question. I have a serious question. Finally, I know it's real dumb. So
I didn't get to ask my G-Sync question while my Skype was spazzing out, Linus.
Boo.
What do you think we're going to see like price-wise? Because they're actually putting a physical chip in these screens, like a more high-end chip.
Yeah, that's what I'm concerned about too.
Do we think that the price jump's going to be massive or no?
Well, that was the first thing I asked them about, because I kind of went, well, come on, guys. Every time you throw the first thing, well, what I asked them was, what's the licensing fee like? Because we didn't see much adoption of 3D vision in monitors. A, because again, the implementations just weren't that good and they weren't selling very well, and B, because NVIDIA was asking for a significant licensing fee. Plus, you had to send them monitors, and they had to blah 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 validate this, and there was some stuff that was being built in to prevent AMD cards from running in 3D mode on these monitors. Like, it was kind of ridiculous. Whereas with G-Sync, there will be a licensing fee, but they've said up front it will be very reasonable. They want this to be widespread adopted, like not just monitors, but like TVs. Like, let me tell you guys, the thing that really stood out to me about the G-Sync demo was how great G-Sync looked on the gaming monitors, and then how horrible 4K gaming on a 70-inch TV, or however big the thing was, at the back of the room looked, because it was tearing all over the place. It looked like ass. If you could have G-Sync in that TV, what a great gaming experience. So they want G-Sync everywhere. So the licensing fee they've set up front is going to be quite reasonable. And then number two is, I said, well, what about the hardware? You guys are putting what is presumably, I mean, we saw the chip. Jensen held it up, and there's like RAM on it and stuff. Like, it's not trivial. But what they said was, no, it's okay, because we're going to be offsetting the cost of the G-Sync hardware by removing the existing scaling hardware that the monitor manufacturer already has to put in. So the video scaler that's built into your monitor that allows your monitor that is 1920 by 1080 to run at 1440 by 900, by the way, that's a thing, so you don't actually have to have a 1440 monitor.
God damn it, Linus, at every opportunity.
That out there. So the scaler that is built into your monitor already can be replaced. So there will be some cost savings there, and then they can implement G-Sync without just buying an additional chip. So it's going to be expensive from the start. I just, because it's new and exciting and blah 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 blah. But I think that as time goes on, it won't make that much of a difference to the BOM cost.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see this in every new monitor. Like, it seems like there's no reason not to put it in if the cost difference is negligible.
I don't know. There's guys that just seem to not care about working with NVIDIA, so that's a thing.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, 4K, since we just mentioned a little bit, how far away are we from like very some far. Sort of mainstream? I was going to say is very far. Very far is what it sounds like, especially with the frame rates.
A lot of reasons. I mean, number one is AMD and NVIDIA are just now building high-end $400 plus cards that are going to be somewhat useful to run games at 4K.
Somewhat.
So just now, that's finally happening. And even then, like, you look at NVIDIA's reviewer's guide, where they're like, yeah, we've got Assassin's Creed Black Flag running in 4K. It's like, yeah, on two 780 Ti's, and you're getting like 35 FPS on Ultra, and that's an average frame rate, which means you're probably dipping to 20. That's not a gaming experience to me.
No.
20 FPS, no, forget it. You know, you cram your Ultra settings at that point and run it medium, and get, dips to 45, and with G-Sync that'll feel acceptable, then we're talking about something that's actually working. So the fact that the graphics hardware isn't there yet, the fact that it's really not moving that fast anymore. If you guys have been following graphics hardware, there's a great article on PCPer about how graphics hardware isn't going to get as fast as it used to. So we're a long way away from actually having the hardware that can really handle it. And number two is we're a long way away from anyone being willing to sell you a 4K monitor at an inexpensive price. It's going to be viewed as a professional grade solution for quite a while, I think. I mean, even because you're not going to be able to mass market it, because there's so many graphics cards out there that won't even run it because they're not set up for it.
Yeah,
so that's the thing. I think the demand is so low. Like, who is really demanding 4K, and are people going to actually, like, I just don't think 4K is going to sell hardware. I don't think people are going to buy 4K monitors. I don't think they're going to buy high-end graphics cards to run 4K content. Like, we're just so far away from that.
I mean, weird guys will, in much the same way that weird guys bought $1,500 Dell 30 inches back when Apple and Dell were the only guys with a 30-inch monitor. I mean, that's another thing, the video scalers. Back in the early 30-inch days, I don't know if you guys remember this, but the processors inside the monitors were so slow that you just had to have one input on your 30-inch monitor. You could have DVI in, that was it, because there was no such thing as scaler hardware that could handle that resolution at the time with any kind of reasonable speed. So that there's yet another thing that adds additional cost to that implementation that makes it not mainstream. So it's going to be for those weird guys who are willing to spend way too much, and beyond that, it's just not a thing.
What's the Asus monitor right now? $3,000 or something like that? That's like the cheapest. That's like your cheapest solution.
And it's a terrible implementation because it requires dual input. That's actually two monitors side by side, so you get some of the stuttering that you get with Crossfire or multi-monitor configurations with that single display. There's no way I would buy that. Even for $1,000, I wouldn't buy that screen. I'd wait for something with a single input.
So there you go. Consoles are a bunch of liars. We're not going to see 4K for a while. Man.
Oh, we're never going to see it on these current-gen consoles. Anyone who thinks that's going to happen can put it out of their mind.
But they told me they would.
They can tell you whatever they want.
No, but
They
like,
lied
the
to you.
PS4 has teraflops.
The man.
And
The
it's
man-
better than the
DDR5.
Xbox One.
Kazurai was like,
says The Last of Us is the best looking game ever. Okay, so it's just over.
All right, hold on.
It's done. Forget about it.
It's
People
done.
talking about the $900 4K TV from Seiki. That is, by all accounts, the worst TV ever. And there's more. There's more to life than resolution.
yes.
There's contrast ratio. There's input. There's input lag. There's response time. There's everything. And from what I've heard, it's just a worse looking TV than most 1080p TVs out there. So just throwing that out there.
Yeah, I'm on 1440p, and it has taken a hit as far as performance. Just that from 1080 has taken such a, I would say probably 15 to 20 frames on some games lower, just from that. But it's I can't imagine having 3800 by 2100 or whatever 4K is.
All right, I do have to address this. Throned Gorilla says, "Are you telling me Microsoft and Sony have lied to me, Linus? Can you prove this?" Games will likely run at 4K, but the reason I know that they're not going to run in any kind of satisfactory manner is the fact that the HDMI implementation on Xbox One and PS4 only allows for 4K output at 30 frames per second, which means you're going to have your crappy degraded console visuals with your crappy degraded console FPS, and it's going to be even crappier and even more degraded because you're asking for 4 times the pixel processing power that 1080p demanded. And you look at even games now are not supporting 1080p out of the gate. These consoles are underpowered from day one compared to even the last generation Xbox 360 and PS3 were when they first came out. People like to talk about how it takes a little while for the developers to leverage the architecture and the hardware and consoles. We're not going to see that again. That doesn't exist this time around. We're talking x86 chips and Radeon graphics cores. This isn't an unknown for game developers. We're going to see a little bit of optimization programming-wise. We're going to see updates to the APIs for these consoles. What we aren't going to see is the kind of leap that we saw from early Xbox 360 games to like GTA 5. That isn't going to happen again, mark my words.
So, there you go.
I want everything you've just said in the past 2 minutes to be the new slogan for KBMOD.com.
Yeah, we'll just transcribe that, put it on
It'll
the
be our mission statement.
It'll be tiny
shirt.
print.
Eloquently.
So I have a question because I don't know this, because I started watching you on NCIX videos and that kind of thing back in the day. How did you get your start just doing it for NCIX, or were you doing personal videos before then?
Yeah, my very first video upload to YouTube was an NCIX Tech Tips episode. Guys, I'm sorry, I have to go in about 2 minutes here. So,
Okay, that's all right.
I apologize for that.
That's okay. That was a good time then.
Sorry.
We've had a good time.
If you'd like, I can leave my cat in front of the webcam so that...
I've learned a lot of big words
501s
to
and you don't miss
reiterate to
anything.
the computer illiterate to sound smart.
My wife just crawled out of the room. Here, I'm just going to point the camera at her just to troll her anyway.
Got him!
Oh, man.
All right.
Hashtag exposed.
Well,
All right.
thank you so much for coming on, man. It was a
Yeah,
good
thanks.
time.
All right.
We'll have
All
to
right.
do it again.
Appreciate it.
If you guys can let me get to my badminton ladder on time, I can join in the future as well. Just it's just that I'll have to leave a little bit early, so I'd be more than happy to do that. All right, take care, you guys.
All right. Thank you so much.
Good night.
Oh, so the badminton thing wasn't a joke.
No.
Nice.
No.
I respect a man who plays unconventional sports.
All right.